Hello, my friends. I'm sitting here stealing all sorts of candy out of my youngest one's candy box. She hates the Sour Patch Kids and anything with peanuts, so I guess they're mine. Hi, guys. I'm Erin Korselman, the founder of Honestly ADHD. And how many of you today are kind of stuck with a Halloween hangover? If so, drop a 1 in the comments, or in a little emoji with her hand raised up, like that is me. Halloween, I saw a lot of comments in the Honestly ADHD parent support group where some people had great successful Halloweens and some people really struggled through the day. So how many of you have that Halloween hangover? Go ahead and give me a thumbs up or a 1 or whatever. I know I definitely need some extra coffee today. And this is a mug that really is about as big as my head, I promise. So today I want to talk about these 7 principles for raising kids with ADHD, and we are on number 3. So we've already talked about number 1, which is focusing on empathy and empowerment. There was a number of videos there. We have already talked about number 2, which was always remembering that the positive outweighs the negative, and there were a number of videos about that. And now we are moving on to principle number 3, which is aiming for consistent energy and effort on your part as a parent when raising kids with ADHD. Now, I do not have anything prepared already. I'm kind of doing this on the fly. But for anybody, I'm wondering if anybody would be interested in receiving a PDF of this document, which lays out my 7 principles, and then maybe getting a video series about, that just attaches all the various videos so you could give those a look. I don't know if people are interested in that. If you are, drop like a 2 or say me, I'm interested, or drop a 2 in the comments so that I can kind of get a feel, like people want this, not want this, what? And if I get a few comments that say they want it, I'll put something together and get a link out there for you. All right, so moving on to number 3, we are aiming for consistent energy and effort with our kids, right? Now, Halloween is a great example of a time when our energy and our effort are not consistent. We're like, woo, way high, crazy, right? We have to make costumes and our kids' energy is big and we're staying out late, and it's not consistency. It is the definition of not consistency. And I think so many of us saw the ramifications of that from last night, right? We had kids who were a little bit crazy. We ourselves are exhausted today. And so it gives us a good lesson on consistent energy and effort. Now, consistency, we can't always do it, right? We're heading into the holidays where it's the definition of not consistent, where our effort is going to go really high. But I want to talk about when you are dealing with your child, right? These 7 principles are about in moments when you're dealing with your child. If you're abiding by these 7 principles, you're probably doing a pretty good thing, right? So in this instance, you are trying to abide by your own energy and effort, because listen to this. How many of you have done this? You have amazing intentions. Your child's just done something wrong, and you're like, all right, I have to get a really good consequence here, and I am going to ground you for life, or I'm going to take away screens forever, right? Or, you have this really great idea to, I have these all written down because I didn't want to forget them. You have a really great idea on the positive reward system, and you think, wow, I really want to create a token economy in our house, and all the good behavior is going to get rewarded, and every night they're going to get their tokens or their money or their marbles in a jar, whatever, and you have really, really great expectations. But then you put in the effort of going through it, right, of putting that all together, and then you find out pretty quickly that it's too hard for you to maintain. And so you go through this same roller coaster of like really, really, really trying to follow through on the good intention that you have. And then boom, you're kind of going into like, oh, that was really, really hard for me to maintain, and it's fallen off the face of the earth. It's why a lot of experts have fallen away from saying things like, creating token economies in your household, because it's too hard for a parent to implement and to stay consistent and with their energy and effort, and it falls away. So when we're helping, I want you to remember this, when you're helping your child learn a new behavior or skill or habit, you as a mom are also building a new habit yourself, right? So let's say I'm going to help my child learn how to wake up with a proper morning routine. You are also having to make changes to your own behavior. Maybe you're having to wake up a little earlier, go to bed earlier, going through just a different routine in the morning. And those, whether you're an adult or a child, those are hard on you. So I'm going to give you 3 tips today to help yourself stay consistent in your energy and effort with your child. Because guess what, guys? Your child needs to rely on your consistent energy and effort. They need to know that you're steady. So here are your 3 tips, okay? Your first tip is, when you have that great idea, whether it's the perfect consequence for bad behavior or whether it is the perfect incentive for good behavior, or whether it's just how intricate of a Halloween costume you were going to make for your child, I want you to ask yourself this question. Can I really sustain this for as long as I need to? Can I really do that? And you're going to have this really excited person in your brain that says, yeah, it's kind of irrational, that says, yeah, it's a really great idea. You can sustain it. I want you to give yourself a few minutes, and I want you to ask that question again. Can I really sustain this for my child? And if the answer is no, I'm probably asking too much of myself, okay? I'm probably asking too much of myself through this consequence or through this like positive reward system or whatever it is. Then I want you to ask the next question. What is the one thing that I need to do that I can do to move my child forward? What's the one thing? What's the smallest thing that I can do that will still get me a good result, right? Because we don't want to say, well, this was too hard, so we're going to do nothing. Those aren't the options. We're going to move down. We're going to say, what's the one thing that I know I can maintain, that I can build a habit around to help my child build their habit that we can maintain for as long as we need to, right? So for example, if you're having your child clean their room, you may not want to build a habit of cleaning the entire room, cleaning off the desk, cleaning off the bed, picking everything up off the floor. That may take too long. That may be too much to build a habit. So start with the one thing. What's the one thing you're going to start with? Let's say it's picking everything up off the floor. Okay, that's what we're going to start with, is the one habit, the one thing that you're going to do. If you're going to start a token reward system, pick the one behavior that you want to, that you really want to foster and facilitate, the one thing, and build that so that you can have consistent energy and effort, okay? So first you are going to ask yourself, can I sustain this as long as needed? And be honest with yourself, and then give yourself a few minutes and ask yourself again, give yourself a reality check. And number 2, ask yourself, what is the one thing that I can do? And then the third thing that you're going to do is to use tools for you to remind yourself to be consistent. So that may be, that's going to be something we talk about a lot in the next video, is using tools like visual notes for yourself, or like alarms on your phone, for example. So if you have to get up early, be sure that you are earlier to get your child into like some routine, right? Get yourself an alarm, write yourself a note, write your child a note, make it visual, and we'll talk a lot about that in the next video. But use tools for yourself, because building habits, like I said, when you're building a habit in your child, you're building a habit in you, and building those habits is hard. If it was easy, we'd all be doing them already. So it's hard. So as small of a thing as you've chosen, build yourself some supports around you in your house. And then I thought of one more thing, which was this. Just as I was talking, I thought of one more thing. If you implement something and it's too much, all of a sudden you realize the consequence is too big. I can't do it. The positive reward system isn't working. That is a moment of teaching. And we're going to talk about giving yourself grace later on in the principles. But that is a moment of teaching for your child. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I think I made a mistake here. I've bitten off more than I can chew. Let's talk about how we're going to change this up so it works for all of us. That's not a bad thing. That is a good thing to show your child. So we actually changed 3 things into 4 things. Can I sustain this as long as needed? Ask yourself a couple times. If not, what's the one thing I can do? Build yourself supports and tools so that you can remain consistent and with your energy and effort, make sure that you can do it. And then number 2, if you do, or number 4, if you do make a mistake, back off of it. It's okay. Admit the mistake and move on. So that's a lesson around aiming for consistent energy and effort. Remember, if you're interested in grabbing a PDF of this, and then, you know, I'm thinking, gosh, I do these videos quite often. I could easily just email them to you as, you know, as they're created so that you're for sure not to miss them. Let me know, drop a 2 in the comments, and I will figure out a way to get that to you. I'll figure out a way to get you a link. So anyway, that's it. Happy Halloween, everybody, or from yesterday. Everybody get a little bit of extra rest, have a little bit of extra grace today. We've got a lot of sugar and rules, and we're coming off of our Halloween hangovers. So I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.